Hi and welcome to the Geek Legion of Doom. This is a sci-fi movie review, and today I'll be having a look at the film Warlords of Atlantis. So made in 1978, 2 years after the similar film At the Earth's Core, and interestingly 1 year after the original Star Wars movie, Warlords of the Atlantis is the story of a scientific expedition out in the sort of near towards the Bermuda Triangle, and they basically, a group of small group of scientists and sort of the ship's crew are they're trying to sort of find proof of Atlantis, something. Not everyone's in on that, only the sort of the two of the scientists are actually in on this initially, and they've commissioned a kind of underwater submersible. This is obviously set. It's a period piece, so it's obviously set really before sort of any real modern technology and things like that. So they kind of mission a sort of almost like a submersible, which is a kind of dome thing that sort of pumps into the water, almost like a deep sea diving suit. And they soon find that there's a giant of octopus under there for a start. They also managed to find sort of like a gold statue. Now, when they actually hoist the statue back up onto the ship, some of the crew kind of get ideas of wealth and sort of basically sort of cut the cord and send the two scientists that are in this submersible sort of swirling into this land of Atlantis. At the same time, they're attacked by this giant octopus, and kind of the majority of them are sort of dragged down to there as well. So then we turn up in Atlantis, which was shot on location in Malta, and that's one of those jumps of this film. It's a lot of it is location shooting, and it really sort of it's got some great scenery and caves and things like that. And Atlantis turns out is actually the Atlanteans are actually aliens. They crash landed into Earth some time ago and have kind of made this sort of world within a world, if you like, and they kind of are sort of regard humanity as sort of beneath them, and they're very much sort of hyper intelligent, and they kind of use lost sort of souls really of previous crashed ships as kind of slaver, but they're also being attacked by these kind of like monsters. Now, if you're a fan of Doug McClure films, obviously you know there's lots of films, The Land Where Time Forgot, etc., that all feature lots of rubber monsters, and it's the kind of the ultimately the plot is to sort of try and escape from Atlantis, from these both the sort of monsters that are attacking the sort of cities, and as well as the Atlanteans themselves. They take an interest in the sort of the lead scientist because they see him as sort of like intellectually sort of a higher intellectual capacity than the rest, and they kind of want to incorporate him into their sort of collective intelligence or something. And then it's just an escape. Lots of monster attacks. So there's all sorts of different monsters in this. Giant octopus. There seems to be a couple of different sort of types of large creatures that are sort of attacking the Atlanteans in their city, plus sort of a number of sort of smaller flying fish and sort of little lizard things that are, so it's a pretty dangerous place. Not to mention the Atlanteans themselves have kind of, when they capture humans, they sort of turn them into sort of quasi fishmen with sort of gills, because I guess they can't sort of, what we're told is they can't sort of survive that long in that sort of atmosphere, as well as the actual Atlanteans themselves can't survive in the sort of standard Earth atmosphere. They have to have this kind of in between. So that's the basic premise of the plot. So, as I said, the point here is this film sort of came out after Star Wars, and unfortunately Star Wars really sort of changed the landscape, I think, for sort of sci-fi and fantasy films, because that's what people kind of wanted at that day and age. And to be fair, the special effects are going to be the selling point here. There are lots of monster attacks, but the way they were doing it is kind of looking a little bit old at this point. Star Wars employees, probably a lot more effective effects, and it kind of shows. And this was actually a year after Star Wars, so it's this type of film was really sort of outdated at this point and kind of was sort of losing favour, and we didn't really see so much of this sort of film for a long time, to be honest with you. But it's still it's still a fairly decent film. There are some sort of you do have to sort of a suspended disbelief to a certain degree. Well, to a lot, to be fair, because there are. I mean, for a start, this sort of submersible that they have is literally a kind of a dome that kind of goes into the water, yet somehow they're able to sort of steer it, but there doesn't appear to be any sort of propulsion on it or anything like that. So, you know, stuff like that, basically. There's sort of small things that you can kind of pick at, but really it's kind of a bit of just a cheesy, fun monster movie. And the actual sort of costumes and stuff, yes, they look very dated. They look almost, a lot of them look, I think, look like 60s Star Trek costumes, especially the Atlanteans themselves. I don't think it's as memorable as some of these sort of Doug McClure monster films, but, you know, it isn't a bad effort. If you're a kind of fan of like your kind of monster films of yesteryear, I think, you know, obviously you've probably seen this one anyway and you quite enjoy it. But I don't think this one you would look back and call it a classic, to be quite honest. I think it's okay. It's probably, you know, above average for the sort of monster films that are out there, but ultimately it's a relatively forgettable film. So I'll give this one a 6 out of 10. What was your favourite Doug McClure monster film? That's my question to you. Leave me a comment and look forward to seeing you next time. See you later.